Welcome to the bold analysis. I am not agreeing with State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed that William Samoei Ruto is not going to attend Russia-Africa Summit because the interest of country Kenya is going to be represented by the African Union trachea. Russia invited all the 54 African countries to attend a two-day summit between Thursday and Friday in St. Petersburg. And after inviting the African countries, 17 out of the 54 committed to attend in person, and then apart from 17, 32 other countries committed to send representatives to Russia to take part in that summit. Our country Kenya is neither sending a representative or even the president is going to represent us. Now, this is coming in the backdrop of William Ruto's statement in South Africa some 2 months ago, where he said, and while criticizing the US and UK, he called on structured talks that any other country that wants to meet African presidents, they should go through the trachea instead of inviting 54 countries or rather 54 presidents to go and meet one man in a foreign country. The argument is, why don't that Russian president come to meet the 54 in Africa? Africa has a potential of 1.3 billion population, with the majority of youth, which is a labor pool and also a market for the world products. As we speak, Museveni went to that meeting. And remember, Museveni and the US had not been meeting eye to eye. Ethiopian Prime Minister in the East African continent is also there. And remember, the Ethiopian government has been under pressure from the US and other financiers, and I think World Food Program, because the US stopped food aid simply because the government of Ethiopia were actually mishandling, or rather corruption, or rather were looting humanitarian aid that is supposed to go and help the warring factions in Tigray. So we are getting it there. So my only point is clear. Why is Ruto not attending it? I am not buying the statement from Hussein Mohammed that because Kenya is going to be represented by trachea, because the Russian president has said clearly that he's planning to meet all the 54 heads of state, member countries in Africa, individually. Unlike in the past summits where they were bungled and they were never given audience, they never got audience with the other presidents. And so, I want to play for you a video here. This is a video from South Sudan about them saying something about William Ruto. I want you to listen to that video because it's amongst the points that I have here why Ruto is not going to Russia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Today I would like to send a message to our brothers, the people of Kenya, in this video, which is mainly addressed to them. We are going to talk about a Kenyan parliamentarian spoke out against us in a video I saw yesterday in one of my WhatsApp groups. The one who was speaking in the video introduced himself as a member of Kenyan parliament. He was claiming that our General Yasser Al-Attah, the member of Sudan Sovereignty Council, accused the Kenyan people, which is not true at all, and he was absolutely lying on that video. We know the opinions of our Kenyan brothers about what Ruto is doing with us in Sudan, and we have seen them protesting against him and against his mismanagement of Kenya and his international policies, especially with our country, Sudan. The one who was speaking in the video, he said also that General Yasser Al-Attah is not equal to Ruto. So we want to tell him that you are entirely true in this point. Indeed, he is not equal to him and will never be that anymore. Do you know why? Because Yasser Al-Attah is a great military figure, having advanced in his ranks of the military. Due to his qualifications, seniority, and extensive military experience that he had achieved along his so many years which he has spent in military operations. On the other hand, who is Ruto? Who is Ruto and how he became Kenya's president? Can you tell us? Can you tell us how he became a president for your country? I will tell you. If you don't know, let me tell you the truth about him and how he became a president. He became a president by corruption and suspicious business partnership with the rebel Hemeti, the one who ignited the fire of war in Sudan.
Now, as I speak, Ruto is leading the IGAD team for the mediation process in South Sudan. And allow me to break a point hapo kidogo. In South Sudan, there is some war going on. And Ruto himself was picked by IGAD to go and mediate in South Sudan. So the two warring factions have been going on. But here in the country, the troops and himself is against a foreign president coming in to mediate our situation. Probably we need to know our situation has not escalated, but that was not my point. My point is this. The Sudan crisis, the kind of statement coming from that soldier, that commander from South Sudan, from Sudan, I think intelligence realized that they did not want to expose maybe William Ruto going into out. That could be number one, because in terms of what is happening in South Sudan, apart from him being a mediator there, the war also borders some international interest there. And I was actually reading somewhere that the Russia trades Wagner with other warring factions in exchange of gold. This is the main reason why Russia has become hostile for William Ruto. The US piled pressure, and I understand very well that even Joe Biden could have made a call directly to William Ruto to make sure that he doesn't attend it. I've always said the modern day colonization of third world countries, I don't know whether we are still in third world or we are above, is the brittle financial institutions, the IMF and the World Bank of our days. IMF and World Bank seems to be the ones controlling our economy. Even now that the civil servants were told that their salaries, their July salaries will delay, the reason they were given was that IMF gave some directive, some new protocol of payroll system. And because the government is adjusting to it, it has taken time, and that's why the salary is going to delay. That is what has been said, even though I highly doubt whether that is it. So IMF, even by the time Kenyans are protesting about the taxes, behind the scene, they are the forces behind whatever is happening in our budget, in a finance bill. So the IMF and the World Bank of modern day IMF and World Bank is the new front of colonization. And I honestly do believe that you see, Russia and US don't meet eye to eye. US even decided to put some sanctions on Russia. And during that Black Sea initiative, the Black Sea initiative was actually stopped. The Black Sea initiative was an initiative to allow the Russia to be able to penetrate the grain to African countries that are struggling with food security. Number one, it was to help Russia offload what they have because they have been a problem. But number two, it was also going to benefit African countries. But it was sanctions. There were sanctions. And one of the ships that was intercepted in Poland was a Kenyan, one that was coming to Kenya. And I remember analyzing it there. So after that, there have been a bit of a challenge. So Russia and US has not been meeting eye to eye. You'll even realize that recently when a consortium of ambassadors gave a statement about the protest in the country, Russia claimed and had a rebuttal telling them that they should stop meddling with the Kenyan affairs. So clearly it's about supremacy, or rather superiority war that Kenya has gotten itself in. They cannot, and remember, the US, that Russia-African summit is supposed to rival that of the US. Because in December, there was also such a summit between Biden and African presidents. Then in July now, there is also another meeting between Russia and African presidents. Remember, Russia is a member of the BRICS. The BRICS is the economic bloc that is pushing for an alternative currency to suppress the dollar. So one of the reasons why this meeting was to be held probably is the discussion about the BRICS. The African countries that are willing and able to join the BRICS. Today, I think he met the Ethiopian president. Tomorrow, Putin is going to meet Egyptian president. So that was part of it. Remember also, there was also another effort by African presidents led by Ramaphosa for mediation talks between Russia and Ukraine. That had also started. I understand it will also find its way in that summit. So the main reason why Ruto has not gone there, if you ask me, it's about the threat from the US and the UK. Because that meeting for the first time, it was done in 2019, Russia-Africa Summit. This is the second one. The first one, the attendance was 43 member states, presidents that attended it physically. But on this one, those who will be in Russia physically are 17 from 43. Even though they're going to send representatives. But Kenya is nowhere in the picture. Lastly, it could also be possible that the Russian authorities rejected Ruto. It's possible. You know, they were here. There's a Russian envoy here in this country, I think last month. He came to Kenya, then Zimbabwe, and I think Mozambique. Yes. So looking at our international policy, our foreign policy, we've been blowing hot and cold as far as Russia and Ukraine war is concerned. We've not had a distinct position, even though we seem to be leaning towards, we seem to be pushing some neutrality, but we don't have it. We don't have, our neutrality cannot be felt or cannot be seen. So Russia could also have realized that perhaps we are sympathizers of Ukraine because Ukraine, the US and UK, Germany are sympathizers of Ukraine. The France are sympathizers of Ukraine. And so it will be something. And Ruto has often, I tend to believe, and when you look at podcasts in the international space, I tend to believe that William Ruto has become a sacrificial lamb. Is a Trojan horse is American Trojan horse in the African continent, because for quite so long it's been used to play the hardball. When someone wanted to hit US, it was Ruto. Then he went to another summit, I think in France, where he was also bashing the IMF and in terms of, even though he was making a lot of sense, in terms of equity in dishing out and giving these loan facilities. So probably because of the way he had become a little bit, I want to say, more aggressive and more combative to the foreign powers, Russia could also have realized that they cannot trust him. He could be a mole for the other African country, for the other superpowers, and this is something that could still be. Lastly, maybe it has to do with what's happening in the country. You never know. Maybe it has to do with what is happening in the country. There are a lot of foreign interests in whatever is going on here. And as Raila said, there are other international bodies, community that are trying to intervene to find a truce. So this could also be an opportunity that Ruto is taking to make sure that he's not out of the country. Thank you, guys. As I finish, if you are indeed of services, movement services, relocating from one place to the other, maybe moving your house items or your office furnitures, then you need to look for Top Mark Movers. Top Mark Movers, the best company in town in doing that. Just contact them there, 0719 17 43 93, and we'll get sorted. Thank you. I want to also say thank you for I think they've said I should not mention their names, but there's some 5 in a 6, I think now 6, that have also volunteered to release some few protesters. Sema ametoa Willy Kisumu, ameshasema shawatoa, atakuwa anatoa probably tomorrow. Then the other one, I think is Kisi, yes. That is the spirit of bold that with others. Mimi naanza, wewe unaanza, ukiwa hapo where you are, let's support. There is that which leaders can do, but me, I'm doing that appeal on an individual level. If you feel you can get to me. I know in my inbox it's full of people who are supposed to asking me, Kevin, my this, my that. I'll always get you. But that one, if you're outside the country. But if you're in the country, you can know ile police station wale wamefungwa walikuwa strike, it's some 5,000 10,000. You can help so that these people can also come out and integrate with the rest of us. The bail, the maandamano, the ones that are being arrested, guys, is a money minting spree. So that's my head. Thank you.